So why is red meat so highly associated with colon cancer? First of all, this is a very controversial subject, and anyone telling you that they have a definitive answer to this question is likely speaking a little bit too confidently, because the type of research and science that we have at the moment on the link between red meat and cancer is not strong enough to tell you there's a cause and effect. However, after reading a lot of the studies, there are two specific things found in processed meats and to a lesser extent in red meat that continue to reoccur as a possible cause of colon cancer. First of all, let's explain cancer. Cancer is the uncontrollable replication or expansion of cells, and this expansion of cells is called the tumor. And this typically occurs because there is some break in the DNA, meaning the cells are no longer regulating their replication and just continue to replicate uncontrollably. And one of the reasons something could cause cancer is because it causes these breaks in DNA. And now typically these breaks are fixed, but the more breaks that occur, the more likely you would be to develop cancer. This is why if you smoke one cigarette, you may not develop cancer, but repeated exposure to cigarettes and the carcinogens from smoking could potentially lead to cancer. And the same thing could be true about the compounds that I'm about to speak about that are found in processed and cooked red meat. The first one I'm going to talk about are called heterocyclic amines and polyaromatic hydrocarbons. Yes, I know these are long names, but they're simply just byproducts that are produced when you char meat. And these do appear to have the potential to damage cells inside of the colon and cause these DNA breaks. However, oftentimes these compounds are simply just neutralized by what are called antioxidants. Specifically, if you cook your meat with things like herbs and spices that are very rich in antioxidants, you'll actually reduce the formation of these compounds in the first place. But if you apply these herbs and spices after the matter, or eat other foods high in antioxidants, they can help neutralize some of the damaging effects found on charred meat and processed meat. So the first step is just to not overcook your meat, and the second step is possibly to add in more antioxidants to your diet, specifically through things like herbs and spices. Another place for antioxidants are fruits and vegetables, which is likely why, when controlled for fruit and vegetable intake, the amount of red meat in one's diet doesn't appear to change their risk of colon cancer. And now the other compound that's discussed is iron. So while iron does have a myriad of functions inside of our body, and some people certainly are at risk of anemia, there's a lot of iron inside of red meat, and it's in the form that we can absorb. And too much iron could actually be deleterious. This is because unbound iron goes through what's called the Fenton reaction. And this reaction produces harmful molecules called free radicals. And these free radicals are linked to DNA damage. And this is why hemochromatosis, which is a syndrome of excessive iron absorption, does have very serious consequences. With that being said, if we give our bodies enough iron, the small intestine regulates iron absorption, unless we have some of the hemochromatosis gene, which means we should maintain a normal range of iron if we're eating sufficient iron. However, the unabsorbed iron will pass through the small intestine and enter the colon, where it could potentially interact with the cells inside of our colon and cause these DNA breaks. And this is why potentially an extremely high iron intake coming from red meat could potentially increase your risk of colon cancer, because your small intestine may regulate absorption by absorbing less, meaning that more will interact with the cells inside of your colon. With that being said, red meat is extremely nutrient dense, and I would never recommend that someone completely eliminate it from their diet, because it provides a lot of the micronutrients that you can't get in plant products and are very difficult to get from other animal products. But there are two main takeaways that come from all of the research that I've done on this topic. The first is simply just don't burn your meat, and maybe try and stay away from some of the packaged meat, which just means trying to eat fresh meat as often as possible. And the other is make use of herbs, spices, fruits, and vegetables, because of their antioxidant properties and all of the other health promoting properties that they have. You may want to figure out which fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices digest the best for you, because some individuals have more or less difficulty breaking down different types of plant products. Personally, I really like asparagus, oranges, carrots, peppers, green beans, potatoes, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, and other colorful fruits and vegetables. And I do really well with things like parsley, basil, turmeric, cayenne, rosemary, coriander, and other herbs and spices. But personally, I don't eat things like spinach, broccoli, cauliflower, garlic, onion, because I do notice that they do cause some digestive distress. So simply just finding the foods that digest the best with you, and the ones that you really enjoy, are going to be fantastic inclusions to a diet that is high in animal products. and I'd recommend trying to get an equal distribution of red meat, eggs, bivalves, and fish. With that being said, if you want to optimize your diet to feel and look better, simply just send me a DM and we'll get on a phone.